This is a weekly overview of the key events in the armed forces of Ukraine. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelenskyy spoke about the so-called energy ceasefire. He said the initiative came from the United States of America, but there were no direct agreements with Russia. According to the president, if Russia does not strike Ukraine's energy infrastructure, Ukraine will not strike Russia's. In recent days, Russia has reduced the intensity of attacks on Ukrainian energy facilities. Last Tuesday, Russia deliberately attacked a civilian passenger train in the Kharkiv region using 3 Shahed-type unmanned aerial vehicles. 6 civilians were killed. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy stated that such an attack is terrorism, and there can be no military purpose in striking a civilian train. Throughout the week, Russia continued shelling civilian infrastructure. In the Sumy region, a drone hit a residential building, injuring 2 children and their grandmother. The armed forces of Ukraine continue to hold position on the key directions: the Huliaipole direction, the Pokrovsk, and in the Kharkiv region. This was stated by President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. Russia continues to focus its main efforts on the Pokrovsk and Ocheretyne directions, attempting to break through Ukrainian defenses and pulling up reserves. The commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Ukraine reported that the enemy continues to advance in small infantry groups and emphasizes the need to strengthen unmanned system units. The 7th Rapid Response Corps of the Air Assault Forces reported increased pressure on the northern part of Myrnohrad, with ongoing small arms fighting in the city center. Russian forces are accumulating heavy equipment near Novogvardivka and increasing the use of drones and tactical aviation. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy stated that the task of the defense forces of Ukraine is to inflict losses on the Russian army that it cannot replenish. He noted that around 50,000 Russian losses per month is an optimal level and said this goal can be achieved primarily through the use of drones. The Supreme Commander-in-Chief reported that 80% of enemy targets are destroyed by drones, most of them Ukrainian-made. Over the past year, Ukrainian drones struck nearly 820,000 targets, eliminating more than 240,000 occupiers. The Security Service of Ukraine released footage showing damage to enemy aircraft at 5 military airfields. Long-range drones of the Alpha Special Operations Unit damaged 15 aircraft, including fighter jets, bombers, helicopters, and a transport plane. Total losses exceeded $1 billion. Over the past week, the defense forces of Ukraine struck enemy air defense systems, logistics depots, drone control points, manpower concentrations, ammunition depots, and oil refinery infrastructure in temporary occupied territories and in Russia's Krasnodar region. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine confirmed the destructions of a TOR-M2 air defense system in temporary occupied Crimea, as well as strikes on oil depots in Russia's Voronezh and Krasnodar regions. Ukraine and France are working on transferring additional Mirage 2000-5 fighter jets and missiles for air defense systems. The Minister of Defense of Ukraine also highlighted cooperation with France to counter Russia's so-called shadow fleet and limit the enemy's ability to finance the war. This was a weekly overview of the key events in the armed forces of Ukraine. Take care and stay safe. Glory to Ukraine!